Manufacturing industries. So in this part of this slide, we are going to study jute textile industry. So India is the largest producer of raw jute and jute made goods, and we stand second as the producer after Bangladesh. So most of the mills that are in West Bengal, that means jute textile mills, they are mainly in West Bengal, that is on the banks of river Hooghly. The area of the Hooghly river, it is a narrow belt of about 98 km long and 3 km wide. Supports about 3.7 lakh workers directly and about 40 lakh farmers, those farmers who cultivate jute and mesta. So these are the two crops that are grown, which is being used as a raw material in jute textile industry. Now, the first jute mill that was being set up was at Rishra near Kolkata, and that was in the year 1859. Partition of 1947, the most of the jute production area that went to East Pakistan. It was at that time called East Pakistan, which we now remember as, which we call nowadays Bangladesh. So Bangladesh came into being after the war of 1972, but previously it was known as East Pakistan. Now 3/4 of the jute production area that went to East Pakistan. Now, what are the main factors? Now, let's discuss main factors that are responsible for the location of jute mills in the Hooghly Basin. Why most of the jute mills are located in Hooghly Basin area? So, I am just giving you the points. You have to frame your own answers according to it. Now, number one, proximity to the jute producing area means the area of cultivation of jute is nearby the area where mills are located. So it reduces the cost of transportation is being lower. So it helps the jute mill owners to lower the cost of production. Second, inexpensive water transport is being provided to them. That means water transport, they use river as a means of transportation. Good network of railway and roadways also benefit the movement of materials. That means the requirement that is needed for the jute industry, that is provided by the good network of railway, roadways and the water transport. Third point, abundant water supply, because for the manufacture of jute they need water requirement, and that requirement is being provided by the rivers that are flowing. As we know, main river Hooghly river is there, and Ganga river is flowing downwards after. So number 4, cheap labor is provided, as this area is having a lot of population is there. So West Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, Uttar Pradesh, the nearby areas, they are able to have cheap labor, as the main requirement is to lower the cost of production. That is also main requirement. So cheap labor is provided by these states. Benefit of urban city of Kolkata. Now that benefit is provided by the city as means of transportation, communication, trading, marketing, all these services are banking that are needed for the industry, that is provided by the Kolkata city. So these are the main factors of why jute mills are located near the Hooghly Basin. Now let's move to next slide, that is challenges that are being faced by the jute industry. So main points I am just discussing, you have to explain them on your own. Stiff competition they receive from the synthetic fiber that is in the market, because as we know jute is a rough fiber. So mostly people prefer the synthetic substitute, the plastic made bags, baggy. As you know, bags are being used, they made of polythene bags and all those. So other jute producing countries, they are also giving stiff competition to the Indian jute mill producers like Bangladesh, Philippines, Thailand, Brazil, Egypt. So these countries are also making jute products, so they are also giving stiff competition. Next, mainly demand to has to be increased by the government. So government had made a policy to use jute packing instead of plastic packing. So the government policy of mandatory use of jute packaging has provided benefit to the jute industry. Besides these, we have to make diversified products made up of jute, various kinds of, as you can know, the embroidery work or some articles made up of jute for a decoration, bags that can be combined with jute and other materials could be combined. So various kind of products have to be made to again have a momentum to use the jute products. So in 2005, NJP was formulated, that means National Jute Policy was being formulated by the government to improve the productivity and quality of the jute product. So not only we have to diversify the product, but we have to improve the quality of the jute product that is being made by the jute producers. So ensuring good price, government also ensure good price to the farmers, because farmers, those who are producing jute, they were not having proper income, or they were not earning more. So government has to provide certain benefit. Those who are going to produce jute, they will be given certain benefits. Only then the farmers start growing the jute. Even sometimes, as we know that the Bangladesh is the main producer of jute, so the farmers of India were not having any benefits. So government, through this policy, benefited the farmers so that they could enhance the yield per hectare. That means area under cultivation has to be increased under jute. Now, last, global concern is also there for the biodegradable and environment friendly material. So that is why we are using jute products again, as we know that the jute is a biodegradable thing, and it is also environment friendly. And besides this, we also call jute golden fiber, because of the, why we call jute a golden fiber, because jute is made up of, color is brown, and beside it is costly. So that is why it is called golden fiber. Main markets that of jute that they are demanding the jute products are USA, Canada, Russia, UK, Australia, UAE. Now that is regarding the jute industry. Now we are moving to the next topic, that is sugar industry. So I am not providing you the map work. You have to check your books. You are having the map in that book. So in the previous slides I provided the map, but students were confused, so I am not providing the new map. You can prefer the book for that. Now, sugar industry. India stands first in sugar production recently, only in the year 2018-19, beating Brazil, who was standing first, and that is only after 16 years we are able to stand first in the sugar production. We were standing first in gur and khansen. So this standing first in jute industry is due to increase in the acreage and improving yields. That means the production that we are doing, it is also improved a lot, and our product demand has increased also. That means the sugar that we are making is in demand in world market. Now UP is also called the sugar bowl of India, because it is producing about 39% of the sugar that is produced in India. So this state is called the sugar bowl of India. It provides livelihood to about 50 million farmers, direct employment to about 5 lakh laborers. It involves semi-skilled labor in sugar mills and allied industries. That means no skill is being required, only some knowledge has to be how to make sugar. Now, byproducts of sugar, that is sugar cane, is not only used as a raw material to the sugar mill, but it is also used as a biofuel. We make ethanol from it. Baggage, that is remaining part after the sucrose is being extracted, that is used in the paper industry, but it is not economical, but we still use it as that remaining baggage, that means the remaining part of the sugar cane after the sucrose is being taken away by the sugar mills, so remaining that part is being used as in the paper industry. Biogas, we use it to produce electricity. As we know, the biogas is made from the discarded things. Alcohol is being made from the molasses. Molasses is being when we are making sugar cane is converted into, we are making sugar from the sugar cane, then molasses that is remaining, that is used for making of alcohol industry. So sugar mills, along with the sugar mills, alcohol industry is also surviving with the from the sugar cane. Livestock feeding is also being provided, that means animals are also reared, they are being given sugar cane remain part as a feeding. Let's move to the next slide, that is sugar industry. It is a labor intensive industry. Labor intensive means mainly all the work is done by the labor. Entire value chain, that means the process from the cane, that is sugar cane, to the production of sugar or to the making of alcohol, all this require a huge labor, so it is a labor intensive industry. So now, ideal location of sugar mills, mostly we divide India into two major producing area, that is north and south. In north, the states are UP, Bihar, Haryana and Punjab. In south, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. So this industry is seasonal in nature, so it is ideal for the cooperative sector. It is seasonal because it is not giving produce all throughout the year, so this industry is seasonal. The mills have shifted and concentrated in southern and western states in the recent years. Previously they were working in north and south both, but now mostly the mills have shifted to the southern and western states. Main reasons are: number one, south has a tropical climate, it is suitable for higher sucrose content, giving higher yield per unit as compared to north. Second, cooler climate, that is it is having humidity, it ensures longer crushing period, that means sugar cane, that is the main raw material, it could be stored for a longer period in south as compared to north. Cooperative working, it is also better in the southern states as compared to the north. So these are some of the main factors that why the mills have shifted to the western or the southern states in the recent years. Now, what are the main problems that is faced by this industry? Uncertain production output, as production varies, as we don't know, the farmer, as a farmer do not know whether the production would be same due to the climatic conditions. Second, fluctuation in the prices, they always keep on fluctuating, as if the excessive production is there, the farmers gets low price. So these uncertainty is the main reason the mills they suffer a lot. Second, low yield per hectare is there as compared to the major sugarcane producing countries of the world. If we are comparing ourselves with the remaining countries of the world, those who are producing sugar cane, so there the yield is more. Example, India yields 64.5 tons. So as compared to India, in Java they are having 90 tons. So that per hectare yield is there. it is quite varying. So we are in loss, or that means sugar mills are in a loss because of this factor also. Third, average rate of recovery of sugar is less than 10%. Recovery of sugar is less than 10%, which is low compared to other countries. So recovery, if recovery is low, so that is why mills, they work in cooperative way. If we are working in a cooperative manner, losses can be beared in an easy way, as compared to a person if he is having a sugar mill, and if I am working in a cooperative manner, it is easy to work in a cooperative manner as compared to an individual manner. So being a seasonal industry with short crushing period, 4 to 7 months, cause financial loss. So mills are in financial loss. Seasonal unemployment is also seen, because those who are employed in the mills, they are sitting idle in the remaining months of the year. So sugar is not produced throughout the year, it is only seasonal work. Number last point, high cost of sugar cane, as the mills owner have to pay high price to the farmers. Inefficient technology. Second, they are having inefficient technology. The technology that is being used, that means the way they are making sugar, is also old one. They have not changed, most of the mills have they not changed the technology. Uneconomic process of production. The process of production is not economical, that means most of the money is wasted. Heavy duty they have to pay, that results in the high cost of manufacturing. So most of the mills, they are small in size, so they are not able to cover up the cost of production. They are mostly in a loss. For that, the government has provided benefit to them. Now next industry is iron and steel industry. So the main key, we call it, why we call iron and steel industry key and basic industry, because mostly all other industries, they depend on iron and steel industry for their requirement. Production and consumption of steel, it is an index of country's development, because it provides base to all the industries. Mostly all the industries are based on it, whether we are making a bin or a railway track or some other product, mostly steel is being used by, in one or the other way. Machinery that we are using for manufacturing, they are made up of iron steel. So the product from this industry is used as a raw material for other industries. Sometimes it is used as a raw material, and due to its high tensile strength, strong strength, and low cost, it is widely being used by everyone. So it is called heavy industry also. So iron steel industry is also called heavy industry, as all the raw material, finished goods, they are all heavy and bulky. Even the transportation cost that is involved, that is also huge. Now the raw material that is used is iron ore, coking coal, limestone. They are used in the ratio 4:2:1, and sometimes some quantities of manganese is also required to harden the steel. So we are using manganese to harden the steel that is being made. So now there are certain facts about the iron steel industry in India, certain facts that you should know. They are going to be a part of your MCQs. So we have to learn certain concepts, certain facts about this industry of India. So India is the largest producer of sponge iron in the world, third largest finished steel consumer in the world after China and US. In the year 2018, China is the largest crude steel producer. India stands second, then Japan third, and USA fourth. Though through steel policy, that is NSP, National Steel Policy of India, in the year 2017, 100% foreign direct investment, second policy of government, that is foreign direct investment. If somebody is doing 100% investment, government have taken these two steps to boost the steel sector, that means to speed up, to provide benefit to the iron and steel industry. Now Growth of Indian steel has been driven by the domestic availability of raw material, effective labor. So domestically, the provision of raw material and cost effective labor means the labor is being giving low cost, so easily available labor is there. So that's why the industrialists, they give them low cost. So huge population is there. The area where the industries are located, it is having a huge population, and they cover up with the low cost labor. They are easily available to them. Now pig iron, that is also called crude iron, is obtained directly from the blast furnace and cast in the mold. We have this pig iron. And sponge iron, it is a metallic product produced through direct reduction of the iron ore in a solid state to remove the oxygen from the iron ore. So iron ore is the ore that we extract from the nature. From that, they reduce or they remove the oxygen. From that, sponge iron is gathered. Pig iron, it is a crude iron that is obtained from the blast furnace. But if we are burning iron ore, copper and limestone in the blast furnace, the liquid that is being taken out, that is called a crude iron, that is cast in mold, that is provided a mold. That means it is changed into some figure. Molds, they are stored. The liquid that is out from the furnace, it is collected in a mold, that is pig iron. Now location of iron and steel industry. Chota Nagpur Plateau region has maximum number of iron steel industry in India, as this area has so many benefits that is required for the making of for the establishment of a iron steel industry. Like low cost of iron ore is they are having it in easy manner. High grade raw material is easily provided. The materials, whatever the minerals are required for the iron steel industry, they are easily obtained there in that area. Cheap labor is there because of the area of Bihar, Odisha, West Bengal, nearby states are there. Growth potential of in home market, we are having a huge home market. That means we as a Indian, we are also consuming iron steel. So transportation is there. Port facility of Kolkata, that is also providing a benefit to this industry. So iron steel industry that is located in this area is having this Chota Nagpur Plateau is having the benefit of these factors. Now let's look at the problems that is being faced by the iron and steel industry. Poor demand, price slump, competition from cheaper imports, and delays in project execution are the major problems that are being faced by the steel industry. Inadequate supply of power and coal, inefficiency of the public sector units. Public sector means government undertakings, they are not working properly. They are doing their work under utilization capacity, that they are not doing according to their capacity. Raw material, infrastructure, they are the bottlenecks issues that are also there. Now old technology that is being used by the public sector units, they lead to the inferior quality productions. Underutilization of labor due to frequent strikes, lockouts, ineffective management, slow land acquisition is there. Environment clearances they have to make. So whenever a person is making setting up a iron steel industry, they have to acquire a land, and that acquisition process is very slow. They have to fill up the paper, they have to make the registrations, government acceptance has to be gathered, and all those things. So environment clearance means they have to fill up certain guidelines that they are going to follow after establishment of industry, that they are going to follow certain rules, going to pollution policy they have to follow. Now global glut, that means a surge in cheap imports from China, Russia, Korea, Japan, they have also dented, that means they have also damaged the domestic industry's future. This industry suffers from the that import from these countries. So much cheap products are being coming inside India. So whatever the domestic producers they are making, domestic citizens of India, that means we citizens of India, we are using products that are coming from other countries instead of we are having our own countries made product. Recently, Indian steel has entered a new development stage. Post deregulation stage is there. We are riding high on the resurgent economy. There is again a demand. Have steel has increased. So growth is offered by the India's comparatively low per capita steel consumption, and there is a rise in the consumption due to increased infrastructure construction and automobile railway sectors. Those industries they are consuming a lot of iron steel that is being made. So this industry has gained momentum because of the automobile railway sector, all those new industries that are being set up in India. Now automobile industry, automobile industry in India, after liberalization, new and contemporary models they have increased the demand for vehicle in my market. So there is a quantum jump in less than last 15 years, about 15 years, in increase in the automobile industries. New industries by various brands have set up in India. Foreign direct investment that is being made in India, they have brought new technology to India and they have aligned this industry with the global development. So we are in a process of global development because of the foreign direct investment that is made in India by the different countries or different MNCs in India. Now India manufactures about 11 million vehicles and they export about 1.5 million every year. This industry has a turnover of about US dollar 35 billion and it provides employment to about 13 million people directly and indirectly. So direct means those who are involved in producing making of the automobile, and indirectly those industries those are linked with the automobile industry. So this industry provides employment to about 13 million people. So this industry it comprises of a large range of companies and organizations. They are involved in designing, development, manufacturing, marketing, selling motor vehicles. All those are indirectly involved with this industry. So this is requirement of this industry is very diverse. Largest economic sector by revenue. So it is earning a revenue at a large scale in India. Now new industry that is being set up is information technology and electronic industry. So this is the fastest growing industry in India, production wise also and export also. So IT sector it covers a wide range of product from transistor to television, telephone exchange, computers and all those things. All the equipments that are required by the telecommunication industry they are made by this IT sector. Bangalore is electronic capital of India. It is also called Silicon City as you know, and it is large number of people, that is software companies like Infosys, Wipro, Mindtree, they are located here. But recently Hyderabad has also able to have the setting up of software companies. They have preferred Hyderabad as the next destination for IT sector. So other centers are Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Pune, Chennai, Kolkata, Lucknow, Coimbatore. Now 18 software technology parks are there in India. Short form is STPI. They provide single window service and high data communication facilities to the software experts. They need the working proper working that is being provided by the STPI. This industry is generating employment at a large scale. About 2 lakh people they are employed there. This number is increasing day by day, and most of the 30% employed are mainly women, because they have the safe environment of working there. Call centers are there, so they work in a safe environment, so they prefer to work in this industry. IT sector is a major source of foreign exchange earner, because it earns its fast growing business process outsourcing. That means they are able to work in with other countries while they are working here in India. So that is known as business process outsourcing, that is BPO sector. So according to NASSCOM is a government unit, that is full form is National Association of Software and Services Companies. So according to it, it is a fast growing business outsourcing sector. So IT sector has generated 191 billion in revenues in the last financial in this year of financial year of 2020. So we have generated a lot of revenue from this sector. So growth in hardware and software, both both of them are playing a main success story to this sector, IT sector. Now